When we thought things couldn't get any worse for the Duttons, 1923 proves us wrong again. Episode 5 left us shattered, and from what we know, Episode 6 will be even more brutal. The fight for survival is reaching its breaking point, and the Duttons are on the verge of losing everything. Betrayals, heartbreak, and life-threatening dangers are closing in from all sides. But the biggest question remains: who will make it out alive? Brace yourself, because this ride is about to get even darker. The Duttons have faced unimaginable tragedies before, but what happened in Episode 5 was on a whole new level. The attack on the ranch wasn't just a battle, it was a declaration of war. Bullets flew, blood was spilled, and when the dust settled, the Dutton family was left broken once again. But this wasn't just any attack. It was a calculated move, an attempt to completely wipe out the Duttons once and for all. Donald Whitfield's plans are unfolding exactly as he envisioned, and with Banner Creighton by his side, his power only grows stronger. What's even worse? The Duttons have no idea just how much danger they are in. Jacob Dutton is still fighting for his life. And if you thought his previous injuries were bad, just wait until you see what's coming next. With every passing moment, his condition worsens. The weight of protecting the ranch, his family, and his legacy is crushing him, and his body can't take it anymore. But this isn't just about Jacob. This is about the entire Dutton lineage. If he doesn't survive, the family's entire future hangs in the balance. And knowing Donald's ruthless nature, he won't wait around to see if Jacob makes it. He'll strike again, harder than before, aiming to finish what he started. Meanwhile, the ranch hands are shaken, but they know one thing for sure: they won't go down without a fight. What happened in Episode 5 was only the beginning. They are preparing for a war that will determine the fate of the Yellowstone ranch. But the question remains, will their numbers be enough? Because with Donald's resources, the Duttons are facing an enemy that has more money, more men, and absolutely no mercy. As for Cara Dutton, she's no stranger to heartbreak. But this time, it's different. She's always been the rock of the family, holding everything together even when everything falls apart. But how much more can she take? Losing Jacob would mean losing the last piece of stability she has left. And with Banner and Donald growing bolder by the day, she knows she can't afford to sit back and wait for another attack. She's ready to take matters into her own hands. But is she prepared for what comes next? Because in Episode 6, she might have to make a choice that will change everything. While all this unfolds, there's another threat lurking in the shadows, one that the Duttons aren't even aware of yet. The battle for the ranch isn't just about land and power. It's about survival. And in Episode 6, the cost of survival will be higher than ever. Blood has already been spilled, but the war is far from over. The Duttons have always been fighters, but this time, their enemies are stronger, smarter, and more relentless than ever before. With Donald Whitfield pulling the strings from the shadows, the attacks on the Yellowstone ranch will only intensify. And if Jacob Dutton doesn't recover soon, the entire family could be left vulnerable, exposed to the full force of their enemies. Cara Dutton knows this better than anyone. She can't afford to grieve, can't afford to hesitate. With Jacob clinging to life and the ranch in chaos, she steps up as the true leader of the family. But even as she takes control, she faces impossible choices. Should she rally what's left of their forces and prepare for an all-out war, or should she seek allies before it's too late? One thing is certain: if she makes the wrong move, the consequences will be devastating. Meanwhile, Banner Creighton grows bolder with every passing day. He's already proven he isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, but now, backed by Whitfield's wealth and influence, he's becoming even more dangerous. The Duttons may have seen him as a threat before, but they haven't yet realized just how far he's willing to go. He isn't just looking for revenge anymore, he wants complete domination. And with Whitfield feeding his ambition, Banner is ready to push the Duttons to their breaking point. As the days pass, the tension in Montana thickens like an approaching storm. The ranch hands, loyal to Jacob and the Yellowstone legacy, know that another attack is coming. They don't just have to defend the land, they have to prepare for war. Every gun is counted, every bullet accounted for. The weight of what's coming rests heavily on their shoulders. Some are willing to fight to the death, but others begin to question if this war is even winnable against an enemy with near-limitless resources. Can they really hope to come out alive? Amid all this chaos, Spencer Dutton is still thousands of miles away, unaware of just how dire things have become. But fate has a cruel way of bringing him back into the fight. The message from Kara, her desperate plea for help, finally reaches him. But by the time he reads it, weeks have already passed. Time has been stolen from him, and now he's left with an impossible mission. He must return home, but the journey won't be easy. The ocean is vast, the dangers are real, and getting back to Montana in time to save his family may be nothing more than a desperate dream. Alexandra stands by his side, knowing that his heart belongs to his family and his land. She sees the determination in his eyes, the fire that won't let him abandon his kin. But as much as she supports him, a part of her fears what awaits them in Montana. Because if the Duttons have already lost too much, will there even be anything left for Spencer to return to? Back in Montana, Kara doesn't know if Spencer will arrive in time, but she refuses to wait. She reaches out to anyone who can offer support, but the political landscape is shifting. The war isn't just coming anymore, it's already here. And in episode 6, the Duttons will face their toughest battle yet. Not everyone will survive. The question is, who will be left standing? The weight of war is crushing down on the Duttons, but what they don't see coming is the knife in their back. They've faced enemies before, land barons, cattle thieves, corrupt officials, but nothing can prepare them for the betrayal that is about to strike from within. Someone they trust, someone who has walked their land, eaten at their table, and sworn loyalty to the Yellowstone, is about to turn against them. And when the truth comes out, the devastation will be unbearable. At first, the signs are small. A missing rifle, a conversation that doesn't add up, strange tracks in the dirt leading away from the ranch at odd hours. Kara Dutton, sharp as ever, notices the inconsistencies. But she has bigger battles to fight. She pushes the uneasy feeling aside, convincing herself that now is not the time for paranoia. But deep down, something gnaws at her, a whisper of doubt growing louder with each passing day. Meanwhile, Banner Creighton and Donald Whitfield are already playing their next move. Banner, emboldened by his newfound power, no longer sees himself as just another hired gun. He wants more. He wants the land, the respect, the legacy that the Duttons have fought for generations to protect. And with Whitfield bankrolling his ambitions, he's no longer just a petty outlaw, he's a general in a war that will end with the Yellowstone in his hands or burn to the ground. But brute force alone isn't enough. Banner knows that no matter how many men he brings, no matter how many bullets he fires, the Duttons will never surrender. They'll fight until their last breath. So he decides to break them from the inside, and he finds just the right person to help him do it. And somewhere far away, Spencer Dutton is still fighting his own battle to get home. The letter has changed everything. He knows now that he can't afford to wait. Every second he's gone, his family slips further into danger. He has to make it back, no matter the cost. But the journey won't be easy. And by the time he arrives, will there even be a home left to return to? The ocean stretches endlessly before him, waves crashing against the hull, as if nature itself is trying to hold him back. Spencer Dutton grips the railing of the ship, his knuckles white, his heart pounding with frustration. Every second that passes feels like a lifetime. Every mile crossed feels like a battle won. He knows now, knows with certainty, that his family is in danger, that the Yellowstone is under siege, and he is powerless to stop it. The letter had shattered his world. Alexandra had seen the look in his eyes the moment he read it. The calm, confident man she had fallen in love with was gone, replaced by someone tormented by guilt and urgency. He had promised to protect his family, to return one day. But that promise had been made in the arrogance of youth. Now, with his brother John dead, his uncle Jacob fighting for his life, and his beloved Aunt Cara left to defend their land alone, Spencer understands the weight of his absence. He should have been there. He should have never left. The journey home is brutal. The ship that was supposed to take them safely back to America turns into a nightmare when a storm barrels in from the east. The sky darkens, winds howl, and the sea churns like a beast unleashed. Sailors shout commands, ropes snap, and barrels roll across the deck as the ship is tossed like a toy in the hands of a cruel god. Spencer and Alexandra cling to each other, knowing that survival is not guaranteed. But Spencer doesn't pray for himself. He prays only for one thing, that he makes it back in time. The storm rages for hours, and when it finally passes, the ship is battered but afloat. It's a miracle. But Spencer doesn't waste time marveling at it. He marches to the captain, demands to know how much time they've lost, how much further they have to go. Every answer feels like a knife to his chest. Days. Weeks. Too long. But Spencer is not a man who accepts defeat. If the ship isn't fast enough, he'll find another way. Meanwhile, back at the Yellowstone, the situation is growing more dire. The betrayal that struck them has left wounds deeper than any bullet could. The men who once stood together now watch each other with weary eyes. Who else might turn? Who else might have been bought? The paranoia seeps into their bones, threatening to tear the ranch apart from the inside before Banner Creighton and Donald Whitfield even get the chance to strike again. Cara refuses to let it happen. She moves through the ranch like a force of nature, her voice steady, her commands firm. We don't have time to doubt each other, she tells them. If we fall apart now, they win. But even she knows that words alone won't be enough. They need Spencer. They need the warrior who has faced death and survived. And just when they think they can,